Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Coaching. My name is Britz, executive coach, trainer, and international leadership facilitator and host to the Lunchtime series where we add value to people's lives, happening every day at 12 o'clock on ebizradio.com. Today we are chatting with the Superman of Africa. He's a speaker, a firewalk instructor. He's an executive coach. I just, your website is has got this list of things that you do, and I'm like, damn, man. It's going to be such a fantastic conversation. Please welcome Mr. Cobus Visser. How are you doing, Cobus?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. And yes, all of those list of things is different identities, if I have to say it like that. So when I market myself, each of them have an identity that I market under, So it's all about branding and marketing.
Absolutely right. But I mean, it's such a, I see the list of things that you do, and I think it all ties into who this human is that we speak to. We're going to be speaking today, and Cobus, we recently you and I have chatted. And you've shared a little bit about your story. And I don't think everybody knows the story, but don't you want to give us a bit of insight on who you are, what it is you do, and share a bit of that story where, why you call yourself Superman of Africa? Because I think it's a profound story, and people should know it. More people should know it.
Yes, awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Well, I have the tattoo to prove it. So
there we go. If you got the tattoo, it's all downhill from here. It's like
I don't need this. I don't need the T-shirt. I have the tattoo.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah. So just a little bit background. I was born as a hemophiliac, and for those who don't know what a hemophiliac is, it means I'm a bleeder. My blood doesn't clot, so I bleed very easily, and usually in my joints, muscles, and sometimes in my brain as well. And I have had a few brain bleeds, by the way. But through all of these years, the bleedings basically eat away at your cartilage and your joint and disintegrate. So I don't have elbows anymore. My elbows can't go straight. And it's difficult now to show it online like this, but I can't straighten my elbows. I don't have ankles, And so this has proven a lot of challenges now. You might say, but this is health challenge as well. At the moment, we face different challenges in life, and from COVID, walking, there is a mountain in front of us. I had this mountain in front of me that it was my health. And in 2014, end of 2014, beginning of 2015, I woke up one morning and I couldn't walk. My ankles were so in pain that I couldn't put any weight on it. And as a hemophilia, we give ourselves injections to help with the clotting of the blood, and usually it takes 2 to 3 days for the healing to set in. But after this, 3 days became 1 week, 1 week became a month became a year, and although it was a year and a half, I was in bed, couldn't walk, I had to crawl where I wanted to be. I had to move around in a wheelchair. I remember I did motivational speaking from a wheelchair, and that was the biggest challenge for me because I do motivate others, and I ended up being in a wheelchair. I was struggling to motivate myself.
Yeah.
What about motivating others? And so that was one of the journeys. And before I tell you how I got out of that, in 2009 my first son was born, and I couldn't pick up my son. When we got to hospital, I could never really hold him, pick him up. And it was challenging as he was growing up because I could never really literally pick him up and hold him and cradle him. And that had an impact on our relationship when in 2000 and beginning of 14, my second son gets born. And the oldest brother, Tian, draws a letter or a picture. He draws a picture. And he's 2 little babies, and he says, "Dad, I don't want a sissy," and he scratches it out. And I said, "I want a little brother that can play with me because you can't play with me." And Mom, and when he got to me, I had a big cross over me, and I still have it. I use it in my presentations. And he said, "Dad, you are dead." As old in his mind, I was dead. I didn't exist. And so that actually put me on the path that I am today. I went and discovered.
Sorry, Cobus, can you just say that again for us? So you have a cross. The signal got interrupted there for a second. So you have that a big cross on you, and that you still have it and use in your presentations, and then.
And then, my son actually meant by that cross as that, "Dad, you are dead to me." That was his words.
Oh wow!
And in his mind, I didn't exist or I was dead. And so that actually put me on the path that I am today. I went on self-development, studied life coaching, NLP, and then Tony Robbins is one of my biggest mentors that I follow and had an impact on my life. And I saw he does fire walking. So I thought, walking on 500 to 600 degrees Celsius, that should be fun.
Yeah.
So one night I was at a weekend retreat with a friend, and a guy by the name of Hannes Dreyer is doing firewalks in South Africa as well. Did a firewalk, and I thought this guy's crazy. And yet that night I walked on fire without getting burnt. And I said, I need to go learn this. So I went to learn. I Googled, where did Tony Robbins learn his firewalking? And so I found the school in Dallas, Texas. And so I went to study firewalking and a lot of other extreme metaphors, like walking on broken glass, breaking wooden boards with your hand, breaking bricks, bending rebar, breaking arrows, with your throat. So a lot of all of this.
Yeah.
So that put me on the path today, Kevin. It excelled me to say there's something more in life that I need to discover, and I want to share this with people. But the challenge came, as I just did that, and I walked on fire, and I did my first presentations, that 2014 happened, end of 14, 15, that I woke up, and I couldn't walk. The doctor said, Cobus, you have to have both your ankles fused to help you with the pain. It's 6 months per ankle. And so the chances of you being able to walk, because I can't even pull my own weight up, because my elbows, I don't even have muscles. If you can see, I can almost touch my fingers.
Wow.
I don't have. So I don't even have, I need both my elbows need to be replaced. And so they will do this over a period of 2 years. And because I'm going to lose a lot of muscles when I'm bedridden, I might not be able to walk again, because it takes about, for 3 months per ankle, you can't put any weight on it, just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
So what happens if you don't exercise, and if you can't do certain exercises, you basically, muscles get worse.
Yeah.
So that put me on this whole path. And 2015 October, I had to decide, am I going to get an operation or not? And I decided not to go, because we studied life coaching and NLP, and I haven't tried everything to get myself out. Let me try everything that everyone says is so amazing: the mind, the power of the mind, power of affirmation, words, etc., meditation, visualization. Let me give it a shot. If it doesn't work, I'm going to go for the operation.
Yeah.
But if it works, well, then it works. And so one night I saw a documentary, because Tony Robbins says, get a dream so big enough that it seems impossible. It's like Les Brown says, aim for the sun and you land among the stars.
Yeah.
And I saw a guy climbing Kilimanjaro with his crutches, and he has cerebral palsy, and the other guy from South Africa in a wheelchair climbing Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
And I thought, I need something to focus on, because why do I want to do better? And so I said, maybe I should go climb Kilimanjaro. First time it was like a joke. So like all of us.
Talk about reaching for those goals, right? It's like, do you know what? I can't walk, but let me go climb that mountain.
Yeah, it's like it was basically thrown in my path like COVID. It's like, damn, am I ready for this? Should I go do it?
Yeah.
But like, you would know, I kept on saying, I'm gonna do it next year. And then 2016 comes, and people ask, Cobus, when are you going? And I'm like, no, next year. And then 2017 comes, and people say, Cobus, so when are you going? And I'm like, next year.
It's always next year, yeah.
And so people say, no, Cobus, we want to support you. So when do you want to go climb? And so I want to go climb in July 2018.
Yeah.
And July 2018, I went to climb. And so this whole journey, and that's, I think, what we're going to talk about today. How did it happen from the one path to be able to go climb a mountain? And I did it with my crutches. And that time I was still half of my crutches. So almost 90%, probably 80%, I climbed with my crutches the mountain. So, that was the toughest journey I've ever done in my life. If you think COVID is tough, that was even more tough. So,
yeah.
Going through is basically just like climbing Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I mean, I do these sessions often, and I listen to people's stories, and often you see people online, or you see them doing what they're doing, and very often we don't know the story that goes, part of that narrative, and part of how you are who you are and what that journey is. So in terms of prefacing today, don't you want to set that up for us and sort of share where we're going with this conversation?
Yeah, I think the preface is, because there's two stories that I need to finish. How did I climb the mountain, and what happened with me and my son?
Yeah,
and it's about I think it's a lot for us now going through COVID. I constantly read now in the news that there's people committing suicide, giving up on life because life is getting tough and difficult. People are losing connection with other people, and because I didn't have connection with my son, it influenced my relationship with my son to a point where I didn't exist in his life. And I think the both stories, if we connect it, how can we use some of the lessons I've learned through that to say, let's turn it around and let's say, how can we, because a lot of people talk about the new normal, but what is the new normal? How are we going to survive through this? How can we have hope for tomorrow? Because one of my purposes is, get people to discover their greatness. And secondly, Superman in the movie Man of Steel, Lois asks Superman, so what does the symbol of S mean on your chest? And he says, well, where I come from in my planet, it's the symbol for hope. So, and that is where the connection of the Superman comes in, is I want to bring hope for people for tomorrow, and that things are beautiful, better.
Yeah, please carry on.
Can I go on?
Yeah.
So, and I think where is it we can start today, and all of this, like my relationship with my son, was a disconnect. And that is what I'm seeing in the world that is happening. We are being disconnected from each other. We are losing the way of connecting with people. And I say you need to start first with yourself. You need to start looking inward. And one way I do that is I like a process, what I call it's journaling. And most of you have heard journaling, but there's a 3-step process to this journaling, because I first have to get myself in a correct state and have hope and dreams for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so one of those strategies is the night before I go to bed, I start writing down everything that has happened negative, that I'm negative about, that I'm worried about, anxious, because a lot of things happens during the day. Now, if you imagine a dam, if the water never flows out, what happens to the water, Kevin?
Yeah, it just gets stale. It starts getting bad.
It gets rotten, yeah. So how do we get it? Imagine that negativity stays in your body. It gets rotten. It makes you sick, and it gets worried, and that's, it leads you down to the wrong path. But how do we get it out? Now, we don't type it or type it on your phone. You have to write it, because it's something physical you do to basically dry out the dam of all of the negativity. Then you go to sleep. So you basically go to sleep without your worries and what you're anxious about and stress, etc. Then you wake up in the morning, and then the first thing you should do in the morning is start journaling again. Now, usually I do this after a meditation session. I have a meditation group, so I guide people through a 15 to 20 minute meditation, because that sets the trend for the day. Secondly and the reason for this is like a dam. Now you have to fill it with new water so that you can be able to share that water. Then you write what you are grateful for. Gratitude is one thing that have gotten me through all of this, because we forget about what we already have, what we can be grateful for, because we so much compare ourselves to others and to our past successes that we forget that what can we be grateful for now. And the moment we do that, it shifts our physiology, it shifts our mindset, and then I end up, what are some of the goals I still want to achieve? That dream thing. I want to go climb Kilimanjaro. Affirmations. I'm strong. I'm healthy. I'm vibrant. I'm a great being of light, health. Whatever you feel like saying, you say out, because new words bring life. It's like a quote that I live by. It's a quote by Gandhi, and this is so one of the powerful quotes. It says that everything starts with a belief. It becomes our thoughts, that becomes our words. Now, for those who know, our words, there's life and death in the power of the tongue, and those who love to use it will bear the fruit of it. Because our words then lead into our actions. So whatever we talk and say, we will act it out. And the more we act it out, the more it will become a habit that will lead to becoming a value in our life, and that will ultimately be our destiny.
Yeah.
So we need to change our destiny. So we first need to change about what we believe. And so the journaling is a great part of it because it shifts the mindset about having that belief that I'm grateful that I can achieve goals. So it changes the focus of the mind. And now, because you are thinking it, you're going to start speaking it. What is the actions that's going to follow? And suddenly, before you know it, everything around you changes. So I had to do some action with my boy because that had an impact on my relationship with my son.
Yeah.
And so on this journey, I discovered something, the power of connection. Connection is the power, and we all want love. We all want happiness, joy. We want to belong. So one way of doing it is, first is when you get together and start with your family, is make eye contact, because the eyes are the windows of the soul. And also when you make eye contact is you also acknowledge the person in front of you. The
Yeah.
native Indians is about, I see you.
Yeah.
And you are connected, because it's just without saying words, you're just making a connection with the person in front of you.
Yeah.
The second step is you go heart to heart. You make sure that your heart's touch. So usually your head goes to the right. So when you hug, what is the symbol of your heart? Your heart is love. Your heart is life. Your heart is passion. There's even science behind it called heart math about the power of your heart. That your heart can pick up energy 6 meters away and can pick up emotions and etc.
Yeah.
So now you hug heart to heart. So your hearts touch. The third step is you breathe in together. And as we breathe and we breathe out. Now, if you do that for 20 seconds, now it's usually 2 breaths, 2 to 3 breaths, your brain releases serotonin. And, serotonin is the happy drug. It's naturally that's made by your body. So I did this with my boy, and the impact it had is when I moved to Pretoria, he drew a new picture of where we're going to stay and everything. And he came to me and says, Dad, I just want to say to you, you are alive. And so in his mind, I went from dead to being alive.
Yeah.
And so at one of my events, I told this story, and he was sitting there and he was listening to this, and he's bursting out in tears. I don't know why, but we have this thing as we make like this, and it means that, look, yeah, I want a hug, And then he came up and he gave me a hug, and I turned around, but he was now still sobbing, and I get people to do the hug because I always make that happen. And I look at him, he says, Dad, I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. Please forgive me. And I'm like, son, there's nothing to forgive. This was
shame, man.
perfect. Look at what's happening. And it made me realize that we need to connect. And I know there's social distancing, and I know there's all, but what is important is that we need to be connected with people. Even if you don't give hug, you can still probably give hugs to your family. But for individuals out there, I've noticed that nobody looks you in the eye. Everyone is looking down, they're looking past you because you have your mask on, but hardly many people are still making eye contact.
Yeah.
And so isn't it time for us to at least acknowledge each other by making eye contact and being present?
I must, listening to you, because of you, most people want to know that, we are working on a similar project in different times and different regions, and going through the training with you, one of the things you shared specifically was about connection and how to, because we can't hug each other, you mentioned, I think you mentioned something from my heart to your heart. And on every single training, because of that I've done now, so I wanted to share this with you and surprise you.
Nice.
I literally prefaced every single time we ended a section in the training, I would tell them, I would show them, guys, from my heart to your heart, and they would do it back. The profound connection, that symbolization of my intention of what I was intending to share in that moment, and them intending it back. It built a connection, So in the training, I experienced a kind of connection with the groups on every single time that I was doing the training, so profoundly that the feedback that I got was like just unbelievable. So I absolutely, I think And I'm so glad that you're touching on this point, because one of the themes that is sadly happening quite significantly in the world currently, quite specifically in South Africa, is mental health, and how people are just giving up, and they kind of going, I don't have the answers, I don't know what to do, I don't know what's going to happen with my life and my family, and giving up seems like the best possible option. And yet here we are, having this discussion in consideration what you've been through. Yeah, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know how I would have handled it. I think, like listening to the story, I kind of go, damn, like that's next level of like taking the knowledge that you learned through life and certifications and experiences, and kind of going, okay, I've got the knowledge. What am I actively behaving in my environment? And I think that's a big disconnect that people have. They all have book knowledge about, I know I need to write down stuff, I need to journal. I know that, obviously. But, it's just, they just have the knowledge about it. It's the actual doing that makes that connection and makes it relevant and real. And I think you're a walking example of that. It's, how to actively action change in your world.
I think that is important. You just hit it on the head, or the nail on the head, is that comes down to action. And that's why the Gandhi quote is so powerful. It doesn't help us to speak it also. You need to act it out. I do firewalking events, and I get people to walk over 500 to 600 degrees Celsius of fire without getting burned. And just a part of the firewalking experience, we like to set intentions. So everyone that is walking sets their own intention, but also as a group, for me as a facilitator, I set intention with the group. One is that we want clear skies, because we don't want it to rain. But it doesn't help us to say, I don't want it to rain, because it's still focusing on rain. I've never had it rain at a firewalk. I've done firewalks in a rainforest where it's raining. And then people say, I'm probably not going to have a firewalk. I said, no, don't worry. We take a sail over it. We light the fire, okay? And it's pouring rain. It's not like drizzling. It's pouring rain. We're wet. And so we as a group says, intention one is clear skies. The second one is gentle breezes. And then the third one is the only experience when you walk is an ice-cold healing fire. Yeah. And we said that, and then when we lit the fire, guess what? The rain stops, because we fought. And then when the fire is finished, we would say, okay, fire closed. And then slowly but surely it will start raining again. It was so amazing to experience. And that is the power of words. But how do we connect it? Yeah. We all want it to rain. It's like a farmer's one. But if we don't take action in faith, it's never going to be given to us. If I could say, but look, it's raining, I'm not going to take action, because what is it going to be worth? It's not going to help anything, because it's raining. Yeah. But I have to have faith that I'm going to still do the action, that I'm still going to get what I want. And so I take action, and I have that faith. And because I'm doing that, whatever you believe in, God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, universe, if you ask, you will receive. And by taking action, the clear skies come. And I think that is the thing that most people miss. They can have all of this knowledge and they want this, but they don't understand why we don't get it. Oh, we don't get it because of the blaming game, blaming government, blaming COVID, blaming where I've been born, having an excuse that I'm the wrong color, whatever. And we can have that, or we can say, no, let's change our focus. Let's have faith that things are going to get better, that things are going to change. This COVID, again, challenged me, because most of my things are events and trainings and team buildings. And yet March came, and it was the biggest hit for our industry. Nobody can do events and training. So for 2 months, no income, no. So that was a big challenge. And I could either accept it, and guess what? It's going to happen to anyone. We're going to go through negative spaces and times. But the thing is, we need to sit back and go through it and realize what is the learnings we get. Everything is there for us to get learnings, for you to get learnings, so that you can become a better person, that you can grow through this. And so I had to grow through it, and it helped me to pivot my business. Suddenly, I was doing online webinars. I launched my online academy where I teach people and I train people in NLP. Suddenly, I launched that, and I got my students. And suddenly, through that, I got one-on-one clients. And then, the deal that we are both working on also came to fruition. So just everything started coming together, and I had a few savings left, and I said, okay, what is the one thing businesses needs to do in time of this is they need to market, because most businesses don't marketing themselves. So I put that money on marketing and had the faith that it's going to work out, and it started working out. And it's the same on my journey to Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
It's impossible. I got there in front of Kilimanjaro and I looked up and I'm like, there's no way.
You're like, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah. I'm like, I was like, let me see the first day,
Yeah.
So we do the first day. It's like a 10-hour day. We get to the camp. I'm like dying. I can't breathe. I'm in pain. That night, I can't crawl to the eating tent. I walk to the eating tent. I crawl to the eating tent. I'm like, if I already this in pain, how am I going to be able to go on tomorrow? But here's how you can fool your mind.
Yeah.
Because I knew this, I wanted to go down, and I didn't want to go on. And so, and I hear them say, tomorrow's journey is not going to be as long. It's a shorter journey. So instead of getting there at 6, 7 o'clock, we're going to get there around 2 o'clock. So it's a short day, and we're above the clouds, and the sun is going to shine. So we're not in the rainforest anymore. And so by hearing this, I fool my brain by saying to myself, I want to go back. I don't want to go on. I'm in pain. But the journey back is so far and so tiring. Tomorrow sounds so much better to do a short day. I'm going to go on. And so by changing my focus and my language, suddenly I could go on to the next day. And like every day was a challenge. And I loved it, because like happening now as well, you think you just get through it and then a new challenge gets thrown on. So I can't jump. So on the second day, up to the point, there's a gap between a rock and a rock. If you miss, you fall. Okay, you have to jump from one rock to the next. And I get there, I say to the guys, the tour guides, the company we booked, never told me I have to jump.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? Because my ankles are so in pain that if I just land on them wrong, I'm going to tumble and I'm going to fall off.
Yeah.
So everyone jumps in, the porters, and they behind me, they're on the other rock, they stand ready to catch me. They have a rope around me. And I jump in faith. And we made it. And that's the big lesson. And this is another lesson that I want to.
Yeah.
There's a few people that you need to surround yourself with. Support is so important. I'm not talking about friends. I'm talking about a tribe, people that thinks the same, that is there to uplift each other. And that is what the porters signified to me. They were there as support to make sure that everyone is okay and everyone is helping you, making your journey so much easier. But also then there's the guys that were climbing with me. That is your peers, that is your family, that is your people that you can talk to, that can uplift you, that can look after you. So it's all about your surrounding. It's about who you surround yourself with. And I think that is the next thing that is important, is you have to go really take stock about the people that you spend time with. Are they making you more negative, or are they pushing you to say, man, we're going to get through this. How can we help each other? And I think that is one thing that taught me. And that is what got me through COVID. The main lockdown was because of the peer group that I had, that I checked in on a weekly basis. So that is it. Any questions up to that, or should I?
No, I just want to add to what you're saying. I think on that note, it may be Tony Robbins, it might be some like an international speaker, but the sentiments were, show me the 5 closest people that you are close to, and I'll show you your salary. And like they had that statement, and I was like, what? And then I immediately started, was like, who the hell am I hanging out with? Because like if that's the case, it does. It becomes your tribe. It becomes your influence. It becomes your conversation. It becomes your matched energy levels. It becomes, all of that starts. You start paying attention to. I was like who are these people? And I know Will Smith says, if the top 5 people on your WhatsApp list or WhatsApp list is not fanning your flames, you should delete them from WhatsApp. And I'm like, yes. I make sure that my WhatsApp is a good WhatsApp.
And that is important. but we are not willing to take those actions. Now, for some of us, I heard someone say the other day, but Cobus, I'm speaking to my mom every day, and she's the one that is negative, that is dragging me down. I can't now cut her out of my life. Well, well, she stays your mom, definitely.
Yeah.
You at least can talk less to her. You don't have to talk every single day to put you through that, but at least you can still, manage the times that you spend with people like in your family that you can't get rid of. But there are certain friends, and that's why you also notice that the poor people stays poor, because if they are surrounded by poor people, what's the mindset about? And what do they talk? Is that Gandhi thing again? The actions become the habits, and that's our destiny we're creating. So to get out of that destiny, we need to change the way. And how do we change beliefs as well? Is what audiobooks or books are you reading that is impacting it? What short courses or soft skill courses are you doing to get better? Unfortunately, people are not willing to invest themselves. And I've worked out the other day, in the last 10 years, I spent almost 1.5 million on self-development and self-growth. That's a lot of money if I have to think about it now.
Yes.
And then there's people complaining about investing 1,000 rand or buying a book of 200 rand in themselves. And and I think that is the other secret is you need to invest in yourself and your mindset, putting new knowledge in, and then applying it, because I think that is the other thing that you hit on, is you need to apply what you've learned. So what I say is, whatever book you are reading, take at least 3 of the stuff out of that you can apply now, because the book has a lot of things, but there's always something that you connect with, at least 3. Now, and I think it was an NLP that we learned this. Your brain, if I had to say to someone, quickly call up all of the type of running shoes makers out there. People will start Adidas, Nike, Puma,
G-Star. I think there's No, that's a clothing brand. I only know Nike and Adidas. I use those often.
Yeah, and so most people can get to 5 and a few to 7, but first 3 is always counted up. So you make it to yourself difficult if you try to implement 10 things. Or the secret is, like what I like to say, is between 3 and 5 things that you need to apply and take on, because it's easy to remember. You're not going to forget it. The moment that list becomes long, you forget the whole list, and that's why you need to focus on applying that. And so you get closer to the top, because that is the one thing that helped me to get to the top, was the support, the tribe that were looking after me. Cobus, do you have enough water? Do you have enough food? And pushing me every single day to get the higher. And man, there was days on that mountain that I prayed, I can't go on. I was sitting, breathing, and I'm saying, why did I come here? Why is this happening to me? Oh, no, I chose to be here.
So inevitably, you changed focus. You found the right tribe. You had support structure. You had a vision. Like, is that how you got up the mountain?
I think the vision, but and the goal that I set to achieve. But I think the biggest thing was in the night of the summit, and this is why the following is the most important for me. I started about 9 o'clock, and the rest started about 12 o'clock, because I was on my crutches and I take longer. And so, like, during the night, about 3 o'clock in the morning, and my next thing, they catch up with him, and as they catch, sorry about that. As I get up the mountain, they catch up with me and they pass me, and one of my friends stays with me as I climb. And at the sunrise, I couldn't anymore. I was in too much pain, and we went to sit, and we started seeing the sunrise coming up in the end of the day. And as the sunrise, I just want to switch off. Sure. As the sunrise comes up, I gave up. And my friend there sits with me, and he says, Cobus, man, let's go down. You have come far, you've pushed yourself, and he's there to support me. Yeah. And I look at him and I say, yeah, his name is Will. No, you can't. You need to go climb this mountain for us. We for 3 years, you need to go finish it. And so some tears, and we stand up, and he looks me in the eyes. He gives me my hug, that I teach everyone. And before he leaves, he just says, Cobus, I just feel I need to tell you this, or ask you. why did you come to climb this mountain? What was your why? Why are you here? And he left. And as he left, on the mountain, everything works slow.
Yeah.
I started thinking of what is my why. And that why suddenly energized me and gave me the energy to push those last few 100 meters up. And, and I think that is the other thing is we need to know what is your why, because your why is the thing that gets you up. The why is the one thing that when times get tough, it allows you to get going. So what is your why? At that moment, my whys were my boys. My boys are everything to me, and I want to inspire and bring them hope. And it was so powerful, this journey, that I came back one day, and because my son have learned from me, he says to me, "Dad, would you want me to do the same as you one day, get people to walk over fire and do crazy stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would love that. You can do that." And he looks at me and he says, "Dad," and the youngest brother, I says, "Oh, that's amazing. You can do a family thing, and we carry the name forward." And he looks at me, and he's 9 years old, right? And he says to me, "Dad, but I'm here to live my purpose and to follow my heart." And I'm like, wow.
Damn.
So that hit back, and it made me realize, what is your purpose? What is your why? And if you can hold on to that, you can get through any dark times.
Yeah. I could just sit and listen to you. I'm like, you're like, yeah, you just keep talking. I'll just sit here and learn and listen. So, Cobus, in terms of, I mean, you've already mentioned so many points, but what would, in summary, be five points of a better mindset? What are those 5 things that we can do today?
Yeah. First thing today is go find a book to start reading. And there's amazing books there out there about finding your purpose, finding your why, learning about yourself, and just empower yourself. I think that is already a great start of getting your mind ready. There's a book that I love, Och Mandino, The Greatest Salesman in the World. And there's about 10 scrolls, and there's amazing philosophy in there that you can learn. I love it. And you start with that. That's the first thing, everyone. Then the second step is, for me, is start meditating. For some it's prayer, but get in that habit of meditating, because that's an investment in yourself. And meditation just calms you down and refocuses you. The third thing is then start journaling. And I think journaling is the next thing, that process of letting go of what is bad, gratitude, and focusing on your goals and your and uplifting you, like, I'm healthy, I'm great, affirmations. Part of that third one is the fourth one is goal setting. Goals and a vision is so important. And the reason for that is you need to, goal setting allows you know where you are now, because that's why you want to get better. But where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? People are sometimes tired of goal setting and everything, but goal setting is I do goal setting every single year. So goal setting about where do you want to go? And there's something called Wheel of Life, that every areas of the Wheel of Life, go create 3 goals in each area. Now, there's one for health, there's one for finances, career, family, contribution, spirituality, and you go create goals out of that. So what you want. And out of that, you have your goals. You create what we call, you create a vision board. You create pictures of all of those areas, and you create one nice picture. Now, that vision board is on my phone, is on my laptop, it's printed against the wall, because it's a visualization. So when I meditate and do my gratitude journal and stuff, I would look at my vision board and I will say, okay, I don't have my car yet, so I would say, in a positive state, I drive my car and around and at how many kilometers per hour. Example, I'm healthy, I have healthy bones and joints, so I would be on that focus. And then, because my Kilimanjaro was on my vision board, then I had to take it off because I achieved it. So that's the power of it. And I think the fifth thing is, we might say you create the tribe, but sometimes we don't know where the tribe is. So go find a mentor or a coach, because usually a mentor or a coach already has a tribe for you to belong. And that is one that, Yeah.
Sorry, Cobus, the fifth point, I just want to start there again. The signal went away. So your fifth point is?
Find a coach or a mentor, because they also already have a tribe that you can belong to and that you can grow with. And a coach and a mentor is just going to give you guidance. Now, people say I don't have money. Well, go find a coach that you can afford, because there's a lot of coaches out there that can, and you don't going to start with a Tony Robbins that's going to charge you $1 million to be coached by him,
Yeah.
You go find out the one that is you can start with, and you grow, and you're going to outgrow your coach. So don't feel bad about it. You're going to get to a point where you're probably going to know more than your coach and the tribe there, that you need to find someone else that's going to take you to the next level.
Yeah. I love that. I think, you reiterate everything I share with people all the time. And I think it's the more we get our brains on board with the importance of that, the more we start realizing how actively involved I can be with my life and my world. And I think, a lot of the time you speak about connection and the importance of that, and you have such a beautiful story about that. A lot of the time we almost get busy with the busyness, that we don't even pay attention to where I've lost connection or how I should re-engage that connection with people. So Cobus, if we, I mean, we've already been on here for 45 minutes. We could do it for another 45. If we want to get hold of you, because I know that this weekend you do the fire walking, and I will be there, so I will officially be walking on. I've never done it before, so this is going to be interesting for me as well. But if we want to get hold of you, where do we go? What's the best way? And share that with us.
Okay, yeah. And I sent you a link, if you can share this with the post.
Sure.
That link will have all of my social media on it for people to connect with me. But if while you're listening to this, you can either go to my website. It's Cobus Visser, Cobus with a C, cobusvisser.com. Otherwise, find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. That's the best places to find me, Cobus Visser. So it's Cobus, Cobus Visser. I have to say, because I know you have international guys listening to you. So.
There are quite a few internationals that listen. So I'm very honored and privileged that they. But yeah, please, guys. As Cobus is saying, all the information will be in the description box below, and that's where you can find out more information, and we will definitely share that link. Cobus, closing statement for today's conversation, what would that be?
Closing statement is a quote. I'm not here by chance. I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to grow into a mountain and not to shrink into a grain of sand. Henceforth will I apply all my efforts to grow into the highest mountain of all, and I will strain my potential until it cries for mercy.
High five from my heart to yours, dude. Thank you so much, Cobus. That was such an absolute pleasure. I'll see you on Saturday. Thank you for the time. Thank you for chatting to us. And we should do more of these. We should definitely do more.
Definitely.
Have a good day, man. Chat to you later.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Cobus. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.